Let me tell you something. When God has something planned for you, when He is getting ready to bless you, you might not even see it coming. You're standing in the middle of your struggles, wondering why it feels like everything is falling apart. But that's when He's working the most. It's in those moments, the moments that challenge you, test you, and push you beyond your limits, that's where God is setting the stage. Now, let me give you 5 clear signs that God is preparing you for a blessing. Stay with me now, because this is about to get real. When you begin to feel a sense of discomfort in your life, whether it's in your job, relationships, or even your personal growth, it's easy to interpret it as something negative. After all, discomfort is unsettling, and as human beings, we tend to gravitate toward what feels safe, familiar, and predictable. But here's the truth: discomfort is often the first sign that growth is happening. It's an indicator that you are being pushed beyond your current limits, because staying in the same place, mentally or spiritually, is no longer serving you. The very discomfort that makes you uneasy is actually a call to elevate to a higher level. When you become too comfortable in a particular area of your life, growth stops. You stop challenging yourself, you stop seeking more, and you settle into a routine. There's nothing wrong with comfort, but God knows when it's time for you to step out of that comfort zone. He knows when you've outgrown the place you're in, even if you haven't realized it yourself yet. That discomfort you're feeling, it's God's way of nudging you. He's telling you it's time to move. It's time to grow. And while it may feel like a disruption, it's really a divine interruption. It's God shaking up your foundation to prepare you for the next phase of your life. Think about it: every major transition or breakthrough in life is often preceded by discomfort. Before a seed grows into a tree, it has to break through the soil, struggle to find light, and push through the dirt that surrounds it. That's how growth happens. You can't expect to elevate without going through moments that stretch you beyond your comfort. If life feels too comfortable for too long, it's a sign that stagnation is creeping in. And stagnation is the enemy of growth. God allows discomfort to come into your life because He sees the bigger picture. He knows that without it, you wouldn't be motivated to seek the next level He has planned for you. Discomfort challenges you to examine the areas in your life that need change. It pushes you to reevaluate where you are versus where you want to be. Often we are so accustomed to our routines that we don't even notice the areas in which we become complacent. It takes a moment of discomfort and uneasy feeling, a sense of dissatisfaction, or a feeling that something is off to shake us out of that complacency. It forces us to take a deeper look and ask ourselves, am I really where I want to be? Or am I just staying here because it's safe? Discomfort is that divine signal that it's time to reassess and realign. Discomfort opens the door for transformation. It creates a space where you are no longer content with the status quo. It ignites a fire within you to seek something greater, something more aligned with your purpose. Without discomfort, there would be no catalyst for change. You would never be pushed to discover new talents, explore new paths, or challenge yourself to reach higher goals. God knows that if you're too comfortable, you'll never step into the full potential He has for you. That discomfort you're feeling is a sign that He's leading you toward a transformation that will elevate your life. Another important aspect of discomfort is that it builds resilience. When you face situations that are uncomfortable, they force you to grow stronger. They test your faith, your patience, and your determination. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well, but when discomfort hits, that's when your true character is tested. Are you going to retreat back to safety, or are you going to push through the discomfort, knowing that it's a necessary part of your journey? Each time you endure discomfort, you build resilience, and that resilience prepares you for the bigger blessings that are coming your way. Discomfort is also a sign that you're on the brink of something new. Have you ever noticed that just before a major breakthrough, things tend to get really tough? That's not a coincidence. The discomfort intensifies right before the blessing because growth is happening rapidly. You're being stretched and pulled in ways that prepare you for the new season that's about to unfold. It may feel chaotic, it may feel overwhelming, but that's exactly when you need to hold on. The discomfort is temporary, but the growth it brings is long-lasting. And when you come out on the other side, you'll realize that the discomfort was worth it. Discomfort strips away the superficial. When you're comfortable, it's easy to hold on to things that aren't truly serving you, relationships, habits, or even mindsets. But when discomfort enters the picture, it forces you to evaluate what's really important. It shows you what you need to let go of to move forward. Discomfort brings clarity, and that clarity helps you make decisions that align with your higher purpose. It's not always easy to face the truth that discomfort reveals, but it's necessary. God is using that discomfort to help you shed the old so that you can make room for the new. Discomfort is also a sign of trust. When you feel uncomfortable, it means that you're stepping into something unknown, something unfamiliar. And that requires trust in yourself and trust in God's plan for you. If you always stayed where it was comfortable, you wouldn't need faith. Discomfort pushes you to lean into faith, to trust that, even though you don't have all the answers, God does. It's a process of learning to surrender control and trust that He's leading you in the right direction, even when it doesn't make sense in the moment. Discomfort brings growth by developing your ability to adapt. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and if you're not able to adapt, you'll struggle to keep up with the pace of change. Discomfort teaches you flexibility. It shows you that you can handle more than you thought you could. When things don't go as planned and you're forced to pivot, that's where real growth happens. You learn to embrace change, to find new solutions, and to keep moving forward, even when the path isn't clear. Discomfort is the training ground for adaptability, and adaptability is key to long-term success. Discomfort reminds you that you're a work in progress. None of us have it all figured out, and that's okay. Discomfort is a reminder that growth is a continual process, and as long as you're feeling that discomfort, it means you're still evolving, still learning, and still becoming the person God created you to be. When a door closes in your life, it can feel like rejection, disappointment, or even failure. You might have prayed for that opportunity, worked hard for that promotion, or invested time and energy into that relationship, only to see it slip away. But what if that closed door is actually divine protection? What if God, in His infinite wisdom, is sparing you from something that would have led to harm, frustration, or regret down the road? Often what we perceive as a setback is God's way of saying, "This is not for you, and I have something better." It's natural to feel upset when things don't go the way we planned. We set our sights on a particular goal, and when it doesn't happen, we question why. We wonder if we did something wrong or if we missed a step. But sometimes it's not about us at all. Sometimes the closed door is God's way of protecting us from situations we aren't meant to be in. He sees the full picture, something we can't. He knows what lies ahead, and He knows what we're ready for and what we're not. The closed door may very well be God saying, "I love you too much to let you walk through this." Closed doors can feel painful, especially when you've invested so much into trying to open them. You may have poured your heart and soul into a dream or a person, only to watch it all fall apart. But in that pain, there is often protection. God closes certain doors because He knows what's behind them, and He knows that what's on the other side isn't for your good. What may look like an opportunity to you could be filled with hidden challenges or pitfalls that you aren't meant to endure. The door closes because God is shielding you from unnecessary heartache or struggle. The door closes because the timing isn't right. God's timing is perfect, but ours is often off. We may be ready for something on the surface, but God knows we're not prepared internally. He may be protecting you by giving you more time to grow, to develop your skills, or to strengthen your faith before you step into what He has for you. It's not a no forever, but rather a not yet. God's protection often comes in the form of waiting, allowing you to become the person you need to be before the right door opens. There's also the possibility that what you're asking for isn't aligned with your purpose. We all have dreams and desires, but not all of them fit into God's larger plan for our lives. A closed door can be God's way of redirecting you towards your true calling. You may think you know what you want, but God knows what you need. And sometimes what you need is completely different from what you're pursuing. The closed door is His way of steering you towards something that is more aligned with who you are and what He has designed you to be. It's important to remember that a closed door doesn't mean failure. It's easy to equate rejection with a lack of worth or ability, but God doesn't close doors because we're inadequate. He closes them because He's moving us towards something better. In fact, some of the greatest blessings in life come after doors have closed. Looking back, many people realize that the closed door was actually a blessing in disguise. It protected them from going down a path that wasn't meant for them and led them towards something far greater than they could have imagined. The truth is, we can't see everything that's happening behind the scenes. We don't know what God is working on in the background. While we're fixated on the door that just closed, God is already preparing a new door to open. He's orchestrating things in ways we can't comprehend, and that often involves closing certain doors so that the right ones can appear. Just because you can't see it now doesn't mean He isn't working. In fact, the closed door is often a sign that something better is on the way. Closed doors also teach us to trust God more fully. When everything goes according to our plans, it's easy to feel like we're in control. But when doors close unexpectedly, we're reminded that God is ultimately in control. It's in those moments of uncertainty that our faith is tested. Will we trust that God knows what He's doing, or will we try to force our way through the door He's closed? Learning to trust God in the face of closed doors is part of our spiritual growth. It teaches us to rely on His wisdom, not our own understanding. Closed doors can be opportunities for growth. They force us to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. When a door closes, it gives us time to step back and evaluate our path. Is this really what we want? Is this really where we're supposed to be headed? Sometimes we get so caught up in pursuing a goal that we lose sight of whether it's even the right goal. The closed door gives us a chance to reassess and realign with God's purpose for our lives. It pushes us to grow in new ways, to develop new skills, or to deepen our faith. It's also worth considering that sometimes the door closes because God wants to build something new in you. A closed door can signal the start of a season of preparation. Maybe He's closing the door on a certain relationship or opportunity because He wants you to focus on becoming the person who is ready for the next level. During this time, He may be teaching you patience, perseverance, or trust. He may be refining your character so that when the right door opens, you're fully equipped to walk through it. The closed door isn't the end, it's the beginning of something new. Tests in life have a way of revealing who we are, what we're made of, and how deeply we trust in the process. When we go through tests, they can feel overwhelming, confusing, or even painful, but they serve a far greater purpose than we often realize in the moment. God doesn't allow us to face tests to break us. He allows them to strengthen us. These tests are not punishments, but preparations. They mold us, refine us, and equip us for the blessings that are ahead. Without the trials, we wouldn't be ready to handle the magnitude of the blessings God has in store. Consider the nature of any great blessing. It's not just about receiving something good. It's about being able to sustain, nurture, and grow that blessing once it comes. God knows that for you to step into your blessing and maintain it, you must first develop the strength, resilience, and wisdom that only come through tests. Tests are like training grounds. Just as an athlete needs to undergo rigorous training before they can compete at the highest level, we must endure tests that stretch us beyond our comfort zones, building spiritual and emotional muscles that will serve us in the next season of our lives. One of the key ways that tests strengthen you is by revealing your weaknesses. When life is smooth, it's easy to overlook the areas where you might be lacking patience, faith, or discipline. But when tests come, they expose those weak points. It's not to embarrass or discourage you, it's to help you grow. By showing you where you need to improve, tests allow you to address those areas and build the strength necessary for the blessings ahead. God is using those tests to make sure that when the blessing arrives, you're not weighed down by weaknesses that could cause you to lose it. Tests also build endurance. Life's blessings are often not quick or easy. They require persistence, dedication, and the ability to push through when things get tough. The tests you face in life teach you how to endure, how to keep going even when you feel like giving up. Every time you overcome a challenge, you grow a little bit stronger, a little more resilient. That endurance is crucial for handling the blessings that God has planned for you. Without the ability to endure through tough times, you wouldn't be able to fully appreciate or sustain the blessings that are on the way. Tests force you to lean on God. In times of testing, when you feel like you're at your breaking point, you realize how much you need Him. It's easy to feel self-sufficient when everything is going smoothly, but tests humble you. They remind you that you can't do it all on your own, that there are some challenges you can only overcome by relying on a higher power. This dependency on God is critical, because the blessings He has for you will often require you to continue trusting Him. The tests teach you to walk by faith, not by sight, preparing you to navigate the blessings with the same level of trust. In addition to deepening your faith, tests teach you valuable lessons that will be essential for managing your blessings. Each trial, each test, brings with it a lesson. Sometimes it's about patience, other times it's about learning to let go. The lessons you learn through your tests aren't just for the moment, they are tools you'll need when the blessings come. Every blessing comes with responsibility, and the lessons you learn during your tests equip you to handle that responsibility. The knowledge, wisdom, and discernment gained through testing are all part of the preparation process for the blessings to come. Tests also refine your character. A blessing without character is a burden. God is not interested in just giving you blessings. He's interested in making sure you have the character to handle them well. Tests shape your integrity, your humility, and your compassion. They strip away the parts of you that are not aligned with who God is calling you to be. In those moments of testing, your character is being forged in the fire of adversity. By the time the blessing comes, you're not just someone who receives it, you've become the kind of person who can nurture, sustain, and multiply that blessing. Tests strengthen your sense of gratitude. It's easy to take things for granted when they come too easily. But when you've been tested, when you've had to fight, persevere, and push through, you don't take the blessings for granted. You understand the value of what you've been given because you know what it cost. The tests deepen your appreciation for the blessings, and that gratitude becomes a foundation for how you manage them. When you've been through the fire, you cherish the gold that comes out of it. Gratitude is one of the greatest strengths you develop through testing. Tests also reveal the people around you. During times of blessing, it's easy for people to gather around you for the benefits that come with your success. But during times of testing, you find out who is truly there for you, who supports you through thick and thin. The relationships that endure through your tests are often the ones that will stand by you when the blessing arrives. God uses tests to weed out the people who aren't meant to go with you into the next season of your life. The strength you gain from knowing who's in your corner is invaluable as you step into your blessings. On a deeper level, tests prepare your heart for humility. Without testing, it's easy to fall into pride, thinking that you've earned or deserved the blessings that come your way. Tests remind you that everything you have is by God's grace, not by your own doing. They humble you in the best way possible, keeping you grounded and aware of your dependence on God. When the blessing comes, you'll be able to receive it with a heart full of humility, knowing that it wasn't just your hard work, but God's guidance, grace, and protection that brought you through. This humility will be essential in stewarding the blessing well. Tests reveal your true potential. Often we don't know how strong we are, how capable we are, until we're tested. Tests push us beyond what we thought was possible, revealing strengths we didn't know we had. They show us that we are capable of far more than we imagined. God allows tests because He knows what's inside of you, and He's determined to bring that potential to the surface. The blessing that's coming requires the strongest, wisest, and most refined version of you. Through the tests, God is preparing you not only to receive the blessing, but to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in life, yet it's often something we don't fully understand until it's stretched to new limits. When things are going well, it's easy to have faith. But real faith, the kind that changes you, shapes you, and leads you to your purpose, doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in adversity. It grows when everything around you seems uncertain, when you can't see the path ahead, and when the answers you're waiting for feel delayed. In these moments, your faith is being stretched, and though it can feel uncomfortable, it's exactly what you need to reach new levels of spiritual strength. When God begins to stretch your faith, it often starts with a situation that leaves you feeling completely out of control. Maybe it's a loss, a setback, or a season of waiting where nothing seems to be happening. You start to feel that tension, the inner struggle between holding on and wanting to give up. But that's where the stretching begins. God uses these moments to show you that faith isn't about what you can see with your physical eyes. It's about trusting in what you can't see. It's about believing in His plan, even when it's not clear to you. Faith stretched is faith refined. One of the ways faith is stretched is through delay. When we pray for something, we often expect an immediate answer, but God doesn't operate on our timelines. There are times when He intentionally allows a delay, not to deny us what we've asked for, but to strengthen our faith in the waiting. Waiting can be one of the hardest things to endure, especially when you're praying for a breakthrough or for direction in your life. But it's in the waiting that faith grows deeper. Each day that passes without an answer is another opportunity to trust that God is working behind the scenes, even if you can't see it. This process of waiting stretches your faith by forcing you to let go of your need for control. We all have a tendency to want to manage, plan, and predict the outcomes in our lives. But when God stretches your faith, He's teaching you to surrender. To say, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I trust that you do. It's about releasing your grip on your plans and trusting in God's timing, even when it doesn't align with your own. Faith is stretched when you realize that your control is limited, but God's power is limitless. Another way faith is stretched is through tests of endurance. Life's challenges don't always resolve quickly. Sometimes you have to endure long seasons of struggle, whether it's financial hardship, health issues, or emotional battles. During these seasons, your faith is being stretched to a new level because you have to keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting even when there's no immediate change in your circumstances. This kind of endurance builds a faith that is resilient. It teaches you how to hold on to hope in the face of uncertainty, and that kind of faith is unshakable. Faith is also stretched when you're asked to step into the unknown. God often calls us to places that make us uncomfortable, to take risks that don't make sense from a worldly perspective. Whether it's starting a new venture, moving to a different city, or simply taking a leap of faith in your personal life, these moments challenge you to trust God in ways you never have before. The unknown can be terrifying because it's filled with uncertainty. But it's precisely in the unknown that faith is stretched the most. You're required to step out without knowing all the details, trusting that God will guide your steps as you go. Another important aspect of faith being stretched is the refinement of patience. Patience is not just the ability to wait, it's how you wait. God doesn't just want you to endure the waiting process with gritted teeth, He wants to transform you in the waiting. When your faith is stretched, you learn how to wait with a heart that is at peace, trusting that God's plans are worth the wait. This kind of patience builds maturity. It teaches you to rely on God's promises, not on your immediate circumstances, because you know that in His perfect timing, everything will fall into place. There are also times when faith is stretched through adversity. Trials, difficulties, and setbacks are inevitable in life, but how you respond to them reveals the depth of your faith. when everything seems to be falling apart and you're facing challenges you never expected, it's easy to question why. But faith that is stretched in adversity becomes stronger. It's in those moments of pain and confusion that you learn to lean not on your understanding, but on God's promises. You start to see that even in the darkest times, God is still in control, and your faith grows because you're learning to trust Him in the valleys, not just on the mountaintops. Faith is also stretched when God calls you to trust in His provision. There are moments in life when resources seem scarce, when opportunities seem to dry up, and you're left wondering how you'll make it through. These moments stretch your faith because they require you to believe that God will provide, even when you can't see how. Whether it's financial provision, emotional support, or spiritual guidance, these times of need challenge you to believe that God's supply is endless. As your faith is stretched, you start to understand that God is not limited by your circumstances. His provision comes in ways that often surpass your expectations. Divine delays can be one of the most challenging aspects of faith to understand and accept. We live in a world where instant results are expected, where waiting is often seen as a waste of time. Yet, in God's plan, delays are never wasted. Every delay serves a purpose, even when we can't see it. When God delays an answer to a prayer, a breakthrough, or the fulfillment of a promise, it's not because He's forgotten about us or is withholding something good. Rather, it's because He is aligning everything for His perfect timing. Divine delays are part of a much larger plan that we often can't fully comprehend until we see how everything falls into place. One of the most difficult things about divine delays is the uncertainty they bring. When we don't receive what we're hoping for in the time frame we expect, it's natural to start questioning why. We wonder if we've done something wrong or if God has changed His mind. But God's delays aren't denials. They're often a way of preparing us for something greater than we initially imagined. The delay isn't about withholding, it's about positioning. God is positioning you, the people around you, and the circumstances to perfectly align for the blessing He has prepared. What seems like a delay is often God's way of orchestrating something beyond our understanding. Delays teach us to trust in God's timing, not our own. We often have a specific timeline in mind when we pray or pursue a goal. We want things to happen in a certain order and by a certain time. But God's perspective is so much wider than ours. He sees the end from the beginning, and He knows when the timing is truly right. When He delays something, it's because He's protecting us from moving too quickly before we or the situation are fully ready. God knows when the conditions are right for us to receive and sustain the blessing, and until that time, He often uses delays to ensure that everything is in its proper place. Divine delays often have a way of revealing what's truly in our hearts. When we don't get what we want when we expect it, our response can reveal whether we are trusting God fully or relying on our own understanding. Delays strip away the layers of impatience, doubt, and control that we often hold on to. They expose whether we are more focused on the gift or on the giver. In those moments of waiting, we are invited to deepen our relationship with God, to shift our focus from the blessing we're waiting for to the one who is orchestrating it all. It's in the waiting that faith is refined and strengthened. Another key aspect of divine delays is that they allow us to grow in ways we wouldn't have otherwise. Waiting stretches us, challenges us, and teaches us patience. It forces us to slow down and reflect, to develop qualities like perseverance and endurance. These are qualities that will not only help us receive the blessing, but will also help us sustain it when it arrives. If God gave us everything we asked for exactly when we wanted it, we wouldn't develop the strength, resilience, or character needed to handle the weight of the blessing. The delay isn't just about the timing of the blessing, it's about the person you're becoming in the process. During times of delay, God is often working on things we can't see. While we're focused on the delay, God is busy aligning situations, preparing people, and setting the stage for the perfect timing. We might not see what's happening behind the scenes, but rest assured, God is never idle. He is always at work, ensuring that every detail is in place so that when the time comes, everything will unfold in perfect harmony. It's like a masterful symphony. Each instrument must come in at exactly the right moment for the music to reach its full beauty. God's timing is like that, precise and intentional. Delays also serve as protection. Sometimes we think we're ready for something when, in reality, we're not. We may not realize the hidden challenges or consequences that come with receiving something prematurely. God, in His wisdom, knows what lies ahead, and He delays certain things to protect us from moving too soon. The delay is often God's way of shielding us from unnecessary hardship or from stepping into a situation we're not prepared for. What may feel like a frustrating delay could actually be God's loving hand keeping us safe until we're fully equipped to handle what's coming. In addition to protection, divine delays often bring a greater reward than we initially expected. There are countless stories of people who, after a long period of waiting, received far more than they had hoped for. The delay wasn't just about waiting for the original blessing, it was about receiving something better. God's delays often lead to unexpected surprises, to blessings that are far beyond what we could have imagined. He doesn't just give us what we ask for, He gives us what is best for us. The waiting may be long, but the reward is always worth it, because it aligns with His perfect plan for our lives. Delays also test our faith. In moments of delay, we're faced with the choice: will we trust God, or will we take matters into our own hands? Many times in Scripture, we see examples of people who tried to circumvent God's timing because they grew impatient. The results were often disastrous. God's delays are a test of whether we will trust His process or try to force something on our own. Trusting God during a delay means believing that He knows what's best, even when it doesn't make sense to us. It's about letting go of our need to control the situation and fully surrendering to His timing. Divine delays often deepen our appreciation for the blessing when it finally comes. When you've waited for something, prayed for it, hoped for it, and endured a season of uncertainty, its arrival is all the more sweet. The delay cultivates a sense of gratitude and appreciation that wouldn't have been there if the blessing had come easily or quickly. Waiting refines your heart so that when the blessing comes, you don't take it for granted. You recognize the journey it took to get there, and you are more equipped to handle it with care, responsibility, and thanksgiving. Divine delays remind us that God's plans for us are good. Even when we don't understand why something is taking so long, we can trust that God's intentions are always for our benefit. He is not a God who withholds good things from His children. He is a God who gives exceedingly and abundantly, above all we can ask or think. The delay is not a sign of neglect or punishment. It's a sign that God is preparing something far greater than we can imagine. When we trust Him in the delay, we are aligning ourselves with His perfect will, knowing that His timing is always, without fail, perfect. The preparation phase in life is often overlooked or underappreciated, but it's absolutely essential to achieving success, fulfillment, and purpose. Before we can step into the blessings, responsibilities, or opportunities that God has for us, we must go through a period of preparation. It's in this phase that we are molded, refined, and equipped with the tools and wisdom we need for the next stage of our journey. Without adequate preparation, even the greatest opportunities can slip through our fingers because we're simply not ready to handle them. Preparation is not a waste of time, it's an investment in the future that allows us to rise to the occasion when the moment comes. One of the reasons preparation is so critical is because it lays the foundation for everything that follows. You wouldn't build a house on a shaky foundation, and the same principle applies to life. Before you can carry the weight of a blessing or responsibility, your foundation, your character, your faith, your mindset needs to be strong and secure. The preparation phase is where that foundation is built. It's where you learn patience, resilience, and the disciplines that will sustain you when the real challenges arise. God uses this time to strengthen your core so that when the winds of life blow, you'll be able to stand firm and not be easily swayed. Preparation also involves learning important lessons that you'll need later on. Sometimes we go through situations or challenges that don't seem to make sense in the moment. We ask, why am I dealing with this? Or what's the purpose of this struggle? But often, the lessons we learn in those moments are the very lessons that will equip us for the next phase of our journey. Whether it's learning how to manage stress, how to navigate relationships, or how to make tough decisions, the preparation phase gives you the experience you need to handle bigger responsibilities with grace and wisdom. Every step of preparation is a learning opportunity that shapes you for the future. Another reason the preparation phase is essential is that it builds endurance. The journey toward any significant goal or blessing isn't always easy. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt along the way. The preparation phase teaches you how to persevere through those difficult times. It builds the mental, emotional, and spiritual endurance you'll need to push through when things get tough. Just like an athlete trains before a big competition, you need time to build your stamina so that when the real race begins, you're ready to run without giving up halfway. Endurance is key to success, and it's developed during the preparation phase. The preparation phase also allows you to develop the necessary skills for what's ahead. Just as you wouldn't step into a new job without first gaining the knowledge and training required, you can't fully step into your purpose or destiny without acquiring the skills that will help you succeed. During the preparation phase, you may be honing your craft, building relationships, or learning new abilities that will be critical in the future. God doesn't waste time. He uses every experience, every lesson, and every season to prepare you for what's coming next. The skills you develop now will be invaluable when you step into your calling. In addition to skills, the preparation phase is essential for refining your character. Success, blessings, or leadership without strong character can easily lead to downfall. God isn't just interested in giving you something good, He wants to make sure you have the character to sustain it. The preparation phase often includes moments of testing and refining, where your integrity, humility, and resilience are challenged. It's in this phase that you learn to navigate both success and failure with grace, to handle criticism without losing your sense of self, and to stay grounded in your values no matter the circumstances. Without this character development, even the greatest success can crumble. The preparation phase is also a time for pruning. Just as a gardener prunes plants to encourage healthy growth, God sometimes needs to remove things from our lives that no longer serve us or that could hinder our progress. This might be certain relationships, habits, or mindsets that need to be let go of in order for you to grow. While this pruning process can be uncomfortable, it's necessary for long-term success. The preparation phase is where God removes the distractions, toxic influences, and unnecessary baggage that could hold you back from fully embracing your purpose. It's a time of refining where only what is truly needed for the next phase remains. Another critical aspect of preparation is that it teaches you the value of timing. Sometimes we're eager to jump into the next phase of our lives before we're truly ready. But God's timing is perfect, and the preparation phase teaches you to trust in that timing. Rushing ahead without proper preparation can lead to burnout, frustration, or failure. When you take the time to prepare, you learn to move in sync with God's plan, rather than trying to force things to happen on your own schedule. The timing of your breakthrough or blessing is just as important as the blessing itself. And the preparation phase ensures that everything aligns perfectly when the time is right.